Attention Pioneer, Epiphany is about to drop some sick truth bombs about speedrunning, so listen up.
Huh? We're already recording?
Hi, welcome to my video about the top 10 tricks that I use when speedrunning Satisfactory. Let's get right into it. Before we begin, this video is sponsored by my Taco Bell menu generator. Find out all the delicacies you've been missing out on, like the caramel apple crunchy roll-up or Doritos volcano potatoes. Who knows, maybe with enough requests, they'll finally make the XXL beef Frito soft taco or steak baja chalupa. This is so stupid. Let's get back to the video. First, we gotta talk about crash sites. These are huge for speedruns, especially package percent, because just 1 minute of exploration can yield you hundreds of resources that are vital to the run. In the Northern Forest, there are 2 crash sites near the spawn location, which yield wire, cable, reinforced iron plates, and some items that can be donated for fix-it coupons. Let's take a look at both of them. The first crash site is located northwest of the drop pod. It has 6 pickups in total, 2 cables, 2 reinforced iron plates, screws, and computers. Let's take a look at a run in action. In front of the drop pod, you can find the first cable, then going through the middle, some plates are lying on the ground, and, this one is tricky, more cables are hidden behind a bush. Turning left, the screws are wedged between a spore plant and its neighboring tree, and then moving back southeast, you'll find the computers and remaining reinforced iron plates. These computers are important. Donating them to the Awesome Sink yields a lot of fix-it coupons, which we use to buy rotors instead of making them by hand. Once you've come back and deconstructed the drop pod, the next crash site will be located straight west, after crossing some hills and jumping off a cliff. On the way down, you can see 2 stacks of wire and some screws next to reinforced iron plates lying on the ground. There are also circuit boards on the bottom of the lake that you can donate for a few more coupons. One last note, this crash site does have more reinforced iron plates, which I come back for after unlocking the Awesome Sink. The reason I don't take them at the beginning of the run is that they take too long to swim to, and later on there's a little bit of downtime, which makes the extra running back and forth worth it. Hey doggy, who's a good... The next trick for speedrunning, as well as normal play, is what I call crouch jumping, or jump running. By pressing C on a flat or downhill slope, your character initiates a slide, which gives you a slight speed increase. Jumping increases that speed boost even more, allowing you to move forward much faster than you would simply by running. Additionally, holding C before you land and jumping the moment you touch the ground will preserve your momentum, reducing the time you spend losing and regaining your speed boost in the slide. Crouch jumping is a simple mechanic, and a key to a lot of the map traversal. Being able to cover more distance in the air allows you to interact more while moving, and lets you make sweet jumps over the cliff without falling to your death. Most of the time. Now, buildings are essential for making a factory in Satisfactory. I mean, it's literally in the name. But another way you can take advantage of buildings is to make map traversal easier. In package percent runs, we use a smelter after the second hub upgrade to get up to limestone faster. Build a smelter on the bridge, climb up the ladder, and jump onto the right-hand pipe to get on top of the building. Then you can simply jump up to the limestone deposit to save yourself some time. Be careful though, only the pipe on the right-hand side of the smelter is actually part of the collider, so if you go to the other side, you'll be left without a way up on the smelter. What, guys, come on, it's not that bad. One little known feature of building menus is that number keys correspond to the recommended items shown at the top. Pressing 1 to add iron ore to a smelter, or submit items to the hub will save you a ton of time when doing speedruns. Instead of finding and clicking every item, you can simply hit the number keys 1 to 9 over and over, and they will be put into the hub, allowing you to move your mouse directly to the button. Similarly, the number keys correspond to available equipment in your inventory. Pressing tab followed by the number 1 will equip the first available item in your inventory. You can use this to easily equip the Xeno Zapper or rapidly place portable miners by hitting tab, 1, tab, and then clicking to place each miner down in quick succession. Now, this may come as a surprise. Making resources by hand is an essential part of all Satisfactory speedruns. In general, it takes less time to make something at a craft bench than it does to set up a machine for the same task. Of course, it becomes much more efficient to build a factory when you have to make many things at once, but in the early phases of the game, understanding the most efficient items to make will let you make quick decisions about production and speed you up significantly. Here's a quick breakdown of how long it takes to make the most simple resources by hand compared to how quickly a machine can do the same thing. If you need to make 2 different resources at the same time, opt to build a machine for the resource at the bottom of the list, and then handcraft the resources higher up. Iron rods are by far the most efficient. You can produce them almost 16 times faster than with a constructor. Most of the processed materials are nearly identical to one another in efficiency gain, but you should almost always leave ingot creation to smelters rather than do it yourself. One more thing. Craft benches remember what you were last using them for. If you want to build a certain resource the next time you reopen a craft bench, select it before closing the window. This way, all you have to do when you return to the craft bench is open it and press space to start crafting automatically. It's a small improvement to make, but it helps a lot. Alright, we're about halfway through the video now, and I think it's time I tell you about my favorite trick. This takes advantage of the fact that you don't have to remain next to a building while you continue to interact with it. Put simply, this trick means performing a crouch jump or just a normal jump while moving forward in the air, and then pressing E to interact with the building while you are flying. I use this trick all the time to set up a building while still moving towards the next thing that I need to do afterwards. My two favorite places are at the beginning of the run when I'm setting up smelters. I use a crouch jump in order to move towards the copper deposit and set up the smelter en route so that I can save a little bit of time running. The other time I employ this trick is when I'm setting up all the assemblers near the end of the game. By using an interact while jumping trick, I can get in front of each assembler before it's time to set it up, which saves me a little bit of time running between the assemblers while I'm not configuring them. Also, speaking from personal experience, this is the trick that really wows others when they're watching you play. By doing this one little mechanic, you look way more proficient at the game and like you're blazing by, even though you're only saving a few seconds. If you're familiar with animation canceling in other games, this is a perfect example. When mining resources manually, the resources enter your inventory when the third chip is done. However, there is a cooldown animation of the Pioneer putting the tool back, which cancels if you release the E button. Simply pressing E again starts the animation at the beginning. If done right, this trick enables you to collect iron almost twice as fast as normal by skipping that cooldown animation at the end. Definitely make sure you watch your health though.
Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast!
For optimal efficiency, filling up machines near the end of the game needs you to place very specific amounts of items in each machine. In order to make this process easier, smart inventory management is key. By right-clicking an item stack, you split it perfectly in half. Now, you can always hold down the right mouse button and select a specific number of resources, but that takes much longer and is prone to errors. Therefore, we want to have very specific amounts of each resource in the inventory. For example, I make sure to have 72 reinforced iron plates in inventory before I add them to the assemblers. 72 splits into 2 piles of 36, which then becomes 18, 9, and then 8 4s and 8 5s using only right clicks. This can be done much faster than by splitting 4 off for each machine, saving tons of time. Similarly, I make sure to have 400 biomass when I set up power, allowing me to split them evenly into stacks of 50. There are a few things I do when building a factory in order to speed up that process and start producing faster. During package percent, I bind the crafting bench to my 1 key and space elevator to 4. This way, when I need to build those, I can simply press the corresponding number button and click. This saves a lot of time when building a factory because navigating the UI wastes time that could be spent building instead. Just like everything else, you want to set up this binding when it doesn't take away time from the rest of the game. For example, I bind the space elevator to my 4 key while I'm moving uphill because I can't crouch jump during that time. Another small optimization, once you've already built some of your factory, is to press F to dismantle, then middle mouse button to select a building. This automatically sets you to construct many copies of it, and if you want to build an item in a straight line, you can simply hold Control and click multiple times from there. This is one of my favorite tricks because it lets you make a decently organized factory while still going fast. The last trick I like to employ is the to-do list, which gives you a live resource count. Since your main viewport will show how many resources you have compared to the buildings in your to-do list, you can use it near the end to see what resources you need to make more of without opening your inventory or a craft bench. I usually add the space elevator to my to-do list when I'm adding it to my hotbar. This makes it very easy for me to see how many iron plates and rods I have, which helps me make decisions near the end of the run about what I need to be crafting. Last but not least is the use of mass dismantling in order to finish the milestones at the end of the game. For the Awesome Sync milestone and the final launch, it's common to select almost every building with the mass dismantle tool, and then use the resource indicators to determine when it's time to reclaim everything. Similarly, this is used on every constructor right before submitting part assembly. The method has 3 purposes. First, it's much faster than interacting with every machine individually in order to get its output. Second, the buildings themselves contain some of the materials that you want to be turning in. For example, before launching the space elevator, you have 7 biomass burners, which take up nearly 100 iron plates and rods each. By dismantling them, you get all of the materials back, letting you move on much quicker. Lastly, you clear up space, which makes it much easier to build the next factory that you need. And that's it. Those are the top 10 tricks I use when speedrunning. As with speedruns of any game, there's a lot below the surface that runners can use to blaze through them at a breakneck pace. Even if you don't intend on doing speedruns, some of these tricks are great for normal gameplay. For example, I use about half of these techniques when I play normally, because once you get used to them, they're simply faster and let you get to the fun part. If you want to learn more about speedrunning Satisfactory, or simply watch us develop new paths and push the game to its limits, join our Discord. We'd love to have you, even if you don't play the game. I also stream on Twitch sometimes, where we do fun challenge runs and watch other crazy shit like this happen. Oh, oh Jesus, what the fuck? What was that? Rhinos? I'm also working on a more thorough breakdown of a package percent run, which makes use of all these tricks and has more detailed information on the resource numbers I use, factory layouts, and all the reasoning behind them. Anyway, that's all I got for you. If you like this video, make sure you tell YouTube. If you want to see more like it, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Now, get back to work.